We are live.
Oh, I see.
We
Live.
are live. We are a couple minutes early. So
Yes.
we're going to give everybody 1 minute. And actually, it is now 1 minute.
Yeah.
Now 30. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tisha Talks live YouTube stream. I am super, super excited. This is my first YouTube live stream, and I'm very excited to be doing this. I have a special guest with me today, and I'm going to introduce her in a minute. But for those of you that are new to Tisha Talks, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what I do and why I do it. And so Tisha Talks is created to inspire and to encourage women to be the best that they can be. I believe that everyone was uniquely created with a purpose, and that when they align their passion with their purpose, they are able to be impactful in today's society, no matter what role they play. If they are mothers, if they are wives, if they are entrepreneurs, if they are nurses, if they are teachers, whatever it is that you've been purposed to do, once you align your passion with your purpose, I completely believe that you are going to operate in your best self. And so we are here to encourage that. So we offer different platforms to be able to discuss topics that are impactful to women. And we talk about things from leadership, business, personal development, and life concerns. And so my goal is to create a platform where we're able to have these candid, authentic, unapologetic discussions about things that are concerning us. And so today, I am super excited, guys. As you can see, we have a special guest, and her name is Crystal Lashea. Welcome, Crystal Lashea, to Tisha Talks. I'm super excited that you're with us this afternoon or this evening. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Crystal, and then I'm going to allow her to introduce herself, and I'll talk a little bit about what this episode is about. So,
Yes.
Crystal is a mom. Crystal is a nurse. Crystal is a vegetarian, something I admire, but I'm not there yet. And she is also a mental health advocate. I have known Crystal for years, and she is truly an overcomer. And we all experience different obstacles and different challenges in our life, and they mold us and shape us, help shape us into who we are. But it's not really about the obstacles and the challenges um, you experience. It really is about how you handle them and how you make it through, and that's what matters. And Crystal has been exemplary in her ability to take life obstacles, take life challenges, and press through. And so I'm excited that today she is going to be sharing her journey with us, her story about emotional eating. And before I have her introduce herself, I just want to say that she's also a blogger. She's also a vlogger. And the way that we came about this topic is that she was actually doing a Facebook Live. I don't know if you remember, Crystal, you were doing a Facebook Live and you were talking about emotional eating. And it's not something that I particularly experienced, but there were a lot of women that could relate to that topic. And so I just definitely felt like it was something to talk about and something to share. And Crystal is live all the way from Florida.
Yes. Hi,
So
guys.
without further ado, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself and share your story with us.
Well, as Tisha said, I am Crystal Lashea. I am a vlogger, blogger, a nurse, a mom, all those things. But above all, I am a Christian, and I am in love with Jesus. And He is the one who has got me through all those obstacles, all those trials, all those tribulations, all those things. It's Jesus that was my rock and got me through those things. So I'm excited just to talk about one of those trials and tribulations that He got me through tonight.
Great, 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 great. So tell us about your journey. How did emotional eating start for you?
Emotional eating started for me a couple of years ago. I would say even in my teenage years, I had unhealthy eating habits. I dabbled a little bit in anorexia in middle school, not feeling good about my body. I was a chubby child and not dealing with those habits as a child and into middle school and high school kind of spiraled. And then when I became an adult, it turned into like binge eating and emotional eating. Um, so basically, I came to a point in my life where I was like noticing that anytime I was emotional about something, whether I was sad about something, angry, especially when I was overwhelmed about something, instead of focusing on that emotion, that overwhelmed emotion, I would go and eat. I would find myself in my bed with all this food. I would shut down and I would eat. I would go out to the restaurant and go and eat. Like that was my, instead of picking up and reading the Bible or finding like a safer or healthier hobby, I would emotionally eat. That was my thing. Some people it's shopping or drugs or drinking. For me, it was the emotional eating. That was my coping device for um, life's trials and tribulations and just being overwhelmed. That was my coping device.
So, Crystal, I have a question. What was your food of choice? Like, you watch like movies and stuff, and people get that big pint of ice cream, or they're like eating whole cakes. What was your food of choice?
Honestly, anything easy that I can get to, anything that would make me feel happy. I remember cake was my thing because that's very easily transportable. You take it out the refrigerator, you walk to your bed, you get your knife, you get your whole sheet of cake, and you sit on the bed and you watch Netflix for like 12 hours and just, sit and just wallow and soak and things that were just easy, I would say.
So, was it an instant feeling of comfort that made you? How did it make you feel better about
I
what you were stressing about?
could not control my life. I felt like I could not control my emotions. I could not control the environment. I could not control my son. I could not control my emotions. I couldn't control. I felt like I just couldn't control anything. But you know what I could control? Food and eating. I could go to that store and get a whole sheet cake. I can go to the store and get a dozen of cookies. I can go to the store and buy these things, and I can control that. And for me, it was an instant thing. It was an instant woo side, something that I can get to really quickly and control and just make me feel better and at ease. I think it was like feeling overwhelmed and not feeling in control. And then the food is something I could control. So it was like it balanced it out for me.
I was actually thinking about a vice that I experienced, and I believe therapy. And so when I was thinking about this, because I was like, I haven't experienced emotional eating because I wasn't really like a sweets type person and just kind of always on the go. But I used to, when I would find myself being stressed out, and then let me also say that I have very much a type A personality. So a lot of times I wouldn't know that I was stressed out. Like stuff would just happen, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I need a break.
Yeah.
And I would go to the store, and I know that it was like a vice because I didn't have to be shopping for me.
Yeah.
Somebody's birthday coming up, something for the house. I'd be buying a plate, something. And then if it was on sale, like that just justified it even more. And I was thinking about it today on my ride home, and I was like, Letitia, do you know that it was because I could control it?
Yeah.
So like it felt really good to me when like I bought this thing because I needed a mental break, but I also was able to control how much it cost. I also was able to get a deal. I was able to control those dynamics. So it's interesting that you said that, it really was about controlling a situation when you had an underlining situation that was under control, that was not under control.
Yes. It was definitely about control for me. And I wouldn't say I'm type A, but I like to have, I like, I like to be in control. I do. I like to be in control. I like to know what's going on. I like to have a plan A. That is type A, isn't it? I like to be in control. Yeah, I like to be in control. So yeah, the eating was definitely an easy way for me to disguise and kind of ignore my real emotions and issues that I did not want to deal with. And with emotional eating, it might sneak up on people and they don't realize that they're eating emotionally. I had a friend, she would always go out to restaurants. That was just her thing. And she thought that was her thing. Like, I just like restaurants. And then as we discussed it even more, we realized that she goes out to eat and she goes to restaurants during certain situations when she has certain emotions going on. That's when she goes. So I would just really challenge people to really look at your habits. Really look at your habits when you're feeling not in control.
So what happened or transpired to make or come that this was more than just like, I like cake, or I want to go to, I like this restaurant. What was that transition period or that time where you realized like this is not healthy?
I think when I'm trying to think how to say this. I think there was just a moment when I was sitting in my bed and I just felt so shameful as I looked, like I got a glimpse of myself as I was just sitting there with all this food around me. And I realized that I couldn't not do it. When it was like if I didn't eat, I would like bug out. Like I had to eat. That was like my vice. That was like my thing. Like I would bug out. I would be just a mean person. Like it really affected my emotions. If I wasn't eating, then it would come out in me being mean, me being nasty, me just being not me. It was like kind of like a drug seeker when they don't get their drugs, and it's like, who are you? Like where's this person, this meanness, this craziness coming from? So I think that's when I realized, okay, this is the issue. When I started not being myself, and when that shame and the shame for me, I don't think it was just one moment. I think the shame kept coming down on me harder and harder and harder. And God kept on talking and talking, like He was poking and poking. And I wanted to ignore, like, no, I'm just eating. Like, I'm just eating. But He kept on poking and poking and poking to the point where I realized, like, yeah, this is the issue. This is not healthy, you know? So yeah, I think it was just God just poking and speaking to me, talking to me about it. And then that shame. If it was just restaurants, there wouldn't be shame attached to it. Like, what is attached to your emotions when you're doing it? Like, are you doing this because you really want to eat, or are you doing this because you have an emotion attached to it? And I realized every time I was eating, it was because I had an emotion. It was after somebody made me sad. It was after somebody hurt my feelings. It was after I got disappointed. It was after I was overwhelmed. It was after those things. It wasn't just a Sunday thing that I would just go out to eat. It was after these emotions happened. That's when I would go eat. That's when I would like go in my room and close the door and shut the door after the emotions happened.
Wow. So I'm sure some people are thinking, I think that's extremely important in learning how to identify when you're doing something that is not healthy for you. Because a lot of people look at you, you're like, what, $1.10? So, because I remember I was having a conversation with somebody and said, I'm doing this live feed, I'm going to be doing it with Crystal. And they're like, but, what is she talking about, emotional eating? And I had to explain to them, it's not really about the weight, it's about the why.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I did a little bit of research just to help people understand the difference and the why. And some of the questions that you would want to ask yourself is, and you touched on some of these things too, but I just want to go over it just that so that if anyone is listening, they can, take inventory, take self inventory. Um, do you eat more when you're feeling stressed? Do you eat when you're not hungry or when you feel full? Did you do that? Did you eat when you weren't hungry?
Even hungry, to refrigerator, an emotion. Not hungry at all.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I think you might be. But
I can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely go to the fridge and eat when I was not hungry at all.
The next question is, do you eat to feel better? To calm and soothe yourself when you're sad, mad, bored, and anxious? And I know you talked about that. Do you reward yourself with food?
Yeah, that's the big one. That people probably, like I said, it sneaks. People don't. When it comes to vices, people think of the big ones: shopping, drugs. They don't think of eating as something that they're using as a tool to get them through. Um, so, like I said, I hope whoever needs this hears this and really takes um, just take record of, like you said, the why. When are you eating? You know what I'm saying? Why are you eating so much? Are you eating when you're not even hungry? Are you eating after you have certain conversations with certain people? You know what I'm saying? Are you eating after your heart is broken or after a stressful day? So, yeah.
Another question is, does food make you feel safe? Does food feel like a friend?
Girl. Yes.
Tell us more.
Food made me feel so safe because, like I said, I can control food. Food is not going to disappoint me. It's not going to break my heart. Food is not going to lie to me. Food, I know what I'm getting and I know what to expect with food. Food is not going to change the goalpost. It's not going to change the plan. I know what I'm getting when I sit down and eat this food, and it's safe. Go in your room, eat your food, pacify your feelings, and it's definitely a friend.
Is there one experience that you feel comfortable sharing with us about where you found yourself eating?
I remember kind of embarrassing, but I guess it'll help somebody. I don't really remember what. I'm trying to think what caused it. I think I was just feeling shame from things in my past, and something brought it up. Some things I've been through in my past. And I went to the drive-through, Burger King drive-through, and I sat there in my car. I was just so ashamed, and I ate so much to the point where I felt like I was going to vomit. Physically felt like I was going to vomit because I did not want to think about the abuse from my childhood. I did not want to think about the shame and all that stuff that I was feeling at that moment. So I just went there and I just felt, I sat in my car and looked at these rappers and just, yeah, that was not a good day. That was like I think one of the darker moments. Like when you're eating to the point where you feel like you're going to get sick, then you might have an issue.
I remember one time for me when I was in a past relationship. I had been done wrong, as often happens, and I was just like, you know what? I'm taking this card. And at the time, the person, would have been financially responsible to help pay for pay for what I was about to buy. But I remember I went to the mall and I went into one of my favorite stores and I just bought like, man, I had like $200, $300 worth of stuff. And when I got to the register, the guy was like, "Oh, are we doing a little retail shopping? I mean, a retail therapy?"
Mhm.
I was like, "We sure are." But no, that was like the first time that I actually identified that I was using it as a coping mechanism. Like the thing was saying rewarding yourself. And I just felt like, okay, so, you did that, and that. The least I could do for me, to make me feel good, or I won't even say to make me feel important, but to make me feel good, to make me feel in control, was I could go and I could get me some stuff that's gonna make me look good, that that's gonna make me feel good, because like different colors and fabrics and all that stuff plays a part in, like, how you see yourself and how you feel about yourself. But I was doing all that because I couldn't talk to the person or deal with what had happened initially to make me feel bad to
Yeah.
begin with. So I think that is very interesting. So tell us. So I know we've talked about emotional eating and some things that you've dealt with concerning emotional eating. How did you get to the place where not only you identified that you were an emotional eater, but you adjusted your behavior?
Um, I think I find that I'm a eater.
What'd you say?
Am I echoing?
I'm gonna mute mine so that we can hear you better.
I think I recognized I was an emotional eater just through private moments with God, honestly, and feeling that shame. And some of the books I was reading, um, what is that book? What is that book? What is I Tried Until I Almost Died by Joyce Meyer's daughter. I don't remember her daughter's name, but the book title is I Tried Until I Almost Died, by Joyce Meyer's daughter. If anybody wants to look that up. That was one of the books that was like a ting. What else? Uninvited was one of the other books that was like light bulb. Um, and then how I started the recovery process was, one, I had to be honest with myself and say, okay, Crystal, you need to deal with what's causing the emotional eating first. Like, you can stop eating, but then you're just going to replace that with another vice. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to replace that with something else. So let's deal with why you're not dealing with the root cause. So I had to search for the root causes. And once I realized what those were, I started working on those. It wasn't easy though, and it wasn't an overnight thing. Some of my root causes was my childhood. I think that's like a lot of people's root causes for their issues is their childhood and their upbringing. Um, I never wanted to talk about it. I always ignored it. I ignored the childhood abuse. I ignored the childhood sexual abuse. I ignored my teenage years. I ignored being, a teen mom. All those things that happened in my life, I tried to ignore it, but it was just rising up. So that's one thing I do want to say. If you have issues or things that are rising up, don't ignore it. I suggest you deal with it, because that one thing can transform itself to an even bigger monster. Now you got two issues on your hands. So yeah, I recognized the issues that I needed to deal with, and I honestly shut life down. I was doing too much. I stopped the business that I had going. I stopped taking some of the other, I was just doing too much, and I had to really shut down and just focus on my issues and me. And in doing that, it helped. I was making myself overworked and overwhelmed. So I had to like really shut down and focus on me and read my books and read my Bible and literally come up with a plan, write it down. This is what I'm going to do. No, I can't go out with you tonight because I'm working on me. I got some stuff I'm working on. I really had to focus on me. It was a lot of prayer. It was a lot of hurting. People think dealing with your issues is going to be like rainbows and cupcakes, but it wasn't, because you have to revisit that stuff. But it was a lot of prayer, um, a lot of hurting. But I did it with the grace of God, just praying it through and reading my books,
Yes.
having my village, and having a God that I can go to that says I am loved and I am not, trash or dirt. saying that, Crystal, you are as pure as a white rose. You are not those things that were done to you. You know what I'm saying? You were not. Don't feel shamed. I love you. You are adored. You are my child. You are my princess. You are my everything. So the shame, that guilt, all that stuff that you feel, like, don't believe the lies of the devil.
Like you were definitely created with purpose, because it says in the Bible that he knew you in your mother's womb. So he had intention for you. You were not a mistake. Um, you were not a mistake. And so if you were not a mistake and if God was intentional about creating you, then he had a plan for you and he has a purpose for you.
Yes. And I think sometimes we get overwhelmed and we forget that God had a purpose for us. We forget that we're his beloved. We forget those things because we're so overwhelmed and focused on what's taking our energy away instead of focusing on what God says that we are. We're focused on our shame. So I really had to overwhelm myself and focus on God and just get with him for a while. That's what helped me, getting with God for a while, shutting everything down for a little bit. That's another book, 40 Days of Decrease. Oh, here it is right here. 40 Days of Decrease. This is another really good one. If I could suggest one book, it would be 40 Days of Decrease, a different kind of hunger, a different kind of fast. It really made me soul search and really get into, what are you doing, Crystal? Why are you doing it, Crystal? And let's fix this.
I think that that's perfect, a perfect segue into something else that I was researching on emotional eating, and it's basically like we need to do a self-assessment of ourselves, and this is for, like you said, any vice, emotional eating, even anger issues, or maybe even why you find yourself making the same poor choices or bad decisions, or in these same like dead end relationships, or whatever it may be, not excelling at your job, or just feeling stuck. Some of the questions that you want to ask yourself is, what's going on in my life right now that's making me want to eat, or making me angry, or making me choose this relationship or choose that thing over and over again. Then you can actually go ahead.
In your head, read a book, like have a little notebook, have a little journal, and write these things down. Write down, why am I doing this? Write down, okay, so this happened and this is the cause and effect of what happened. Just don't, sit there with your book. Like, really take inventory. Journals are an amazing thing.
I love journals. Some other questions you can ask yourself is like, what emotion am I experiencing? What is it that I'm trying to hide? Like, am I bored? Am I exhausted? Am I stressed? Am I lonely? Like, what am I trying to satisfy? What problem am I trying to solve? And is this helping me solve that problem?
Yes.
So I think it's a lot of questions that we just need to ask ourselves as we're going through, as we find ourselves in these difficult spaces in life, difficult situations, and definitely I would encourage you. Like, the journaling is great, but some things go beyond just actually writing them out. Sometimes you need to sit down with a licensed therapist or a mentor, or someone who has already been through what you're going through, to really flush out the different emotions. I know for me, one of the questions was, what emotion are you experiencing? For me, because I also experienced some things in my childhood, I had mastered the ability to have a feeling, have an emotion, and be disconnected from it. So, like, I could be hurt, and I don't mean like the anger emotion. Girl, I had that all day. I could do, I could do that. But emotions that were deeply hurtful, like if I was hurt, I could really detach myself from that and just be like, well, this is what I'm gonna do. This is, I go into survival mode. This is what I need to do. This is how I'm gonna work it out, and never really deal with the feeling, the emotion, and why I was actually feeling it. So there are some things that you do need to talk to someone that can help you in a professional way. Would you agree?
I would agree. I had two friends that helped me with that because with me, I like to ignore stuff too. I just don't want to deal with it. But I had this one friend. I would talk to her, and she would ask me follow up questions. Okay, so you're feeling this way, but why are you feeling this way? Okay, so you're doing this, but like you said, is that working for you? Like she would ask me follow up questions and really make me think. And then randomly, she would send me articles. She would send me books. I was doing this 40-day thing with her. We started this together. You really, like you said, journaling is good, but you really need somebody that's going to stand in that corner with you because you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to be like, this is too much. This is too hard. I don't want to do this anymore. It was so much easier to go to the store and just buy that cake and sit on my bed and just ignore all this nonsense. You're going to get back to that point again. So that's why you need somebody in your corner that's going to be like, no, I think too much of you to let you go down that path again. So I definitely suggest getting the right person, not just any person, but the right person to talk to about your vice.
Because I think the biggest thing is that the problem is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's only compounding. Yeah. And so at some point you're going to explode. And if you're using a vice or something else to pacify it, then that thing is going to also become a problem. I think you said that earlier. And so now you have multiple problems and multiple layers of things that you have to now, sift through.
Yeah.
So how long have you been free from emotional eating, or is it still like something that you're progressing through?
It is definitely progressing. I think the past year I have been for the past year, I have been at the stage of realizing I have a problem, fixing my problem, and now I'm at the point of um, maintaining a healthy relationship with food. That's where I'm at. I'm maintaining a healthy relationship with food. It is not, like I said, it's not easy though. Sometimes I get those urges to just when I'm off of work and it was just a hard day, or I think about everything I have to do today, I have those urges to just, go to the Chinese store, get all the food, go back to my room, close the door, and ignore the world. But I can't do that. I've come too far. You've come too far. We're worth more than to just go back down that road. So I'm at the place where I'm maintaining good habits of spending that time with God, studying myself, studying what my triggers are, what sets me off. When I start to feel that emotion, to jump on it, just don't let it linger. Just don't be like, oh, I'm okay. No, I'm not okay. This is my vice. Let me handle this now. Not letting it, go too far. Not getting myself overwhelmed. Like study yourself and develop those good habits that's going to help you with your vice. Each vice has a different habit. Maybe you don't need to go to the mall. Maybe you need to fast from that mall for a while. Maybe you don't need to be around a certain group of people that drink. Maybe you don't need to go to all the parties or go to dinner with that friend that tends to drink all the time. Like study yourself so you can make good habits.
Definitely, that is awesome. That's awesome. And as you're talking, I'm just like, more questions are coming to me. So briefly, I want to just talk about the vegetarian aspect, because you're vegan, so it's kind of like, well, I'm eating healthy food anyway. Can I just eat healthy food? And then also I wanted to ask you about overcompensation, because like you would have the emotional eating or the binge eating on one hand, but then I know that you're very active.
Yeah.
So you'd be like going to the gym. Like, was that overcompensation to balance out?
I think, well, first with the my lifestyle, I am a vegetarian. That means I don't eat meat. Vegans, they don't eat any animal products. I just don't eat meat. So if I wanted to, I could do dairy and all that. But as far as being vegetarian, that even though I eat healthy, you can still eat healthy and binge eat. You know what I'm saying? You can binge eat on healthy food still. Um, so I don't think me being vegetarian, I guess made it okay to eat. Like, oh, I'm a vegetarian, so technically I'm not really binge eating because I eat healthy all the time. Like, no. I don't think it made it okay to binge eat because, like I said, you can still binge eat on healthy stuff.
Okay. So it goes back to the why.
Yeah,
Why are you doing it?
yeah. And it goes the other way. Like you can eat healthy and eat health way too healthy because you're trying to control. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you
Mm,
today? Why are you doing?
yeah.
Why are you so strict with your portion control? Is it because you want to be healthy, or you're trying to control something and you can't control that your man is like, has all these girls' numbers in his phone, but you can control your portion control, and that's why you're eating like 1 piece. So
Uh-oh now.
it goes two ways.
Yeah.
As far as for me being active, in the beginning, I can say I overcompensated because it took away some of the shame. After binge eating, I would go to the gym because it took away some of the shame of the binge eating. Now I'm in a healthier place. So I learned to forgive yourself. Like that's like an amen moment. The moment I think my breakthrough,
Mm.
I'm not gonna cry. I told myself before I did this, I wasn't gonna cry. My aha moment was learning to forgive myself when I would like have a slip up or have a mess up. I would learn to forgive myself. I'm not good at that at all. And I think people really need to learn how to forgive themselves. Um, because when you don't forgive yourself, you're creating you're creating
Shame.
that shame that you feel, it's just growing and growing and growing. Those emotions that you feel are growing. That disgust that you feel within yourself is growing because you're not forgiving yourself. Um, and the Bible says, "Forgive those that do you harm." That means forgive yourself because I do myself harm. So that includes me. I have to forgive myself too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, my mom is learning to forgive myself and saying, "Crystal, like you're not perfect and God still loves you. You did this and God still loves you." And that just created a release for me that made it easier to it made the journey easier once I learned to forgive myself. It wasn't as hard.
So it's definitely a process.
Definitely.
Learning that you may not always succeed, but because you're continuously progressing, you're still winning because you're progressing.
Exactly. Like still, I did not get them at all, but I'm not over here beating myself up about it. I'm not like, like I had to learn balance. Getting overwhelmed because I didn't have balance. I had to learn balance. So today I didn't go to the gym because I did excellent all last week. So today was a chill day and I just relaxed. And I'm not beating myself up about it because I'll go tomorrow and it's all about balance. We get so wound up and we try to control everything and we just drive ourselves crazy. Got to learn balance.
So just a couple more questions. I know when you were doing your live feed, you were talking about like a technique that you were using when you had your moments of your challenging moments where you felt like I wanted to do this, and you were talking about what you would put on your refrigerator. So if you could share that with everyone, I thought that was awesome.
Um, during journey that of my own with God, and during my low moments with God, I would read the Bible, and in the Bible, Matthew 4:4. I'm gonna go run and get it real quick because I want to show the people.
So Crystal has left the screen. She's back. She's back.
In black and white. So Matthew 4:4, man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. So I literally wrote it down, highlighted Matthew 4:4. This is on my refrigerator. Every time I go in my kitchen, every time I might have an urge to open that refrigerator and look for something to eat instead of dealing with my emotions, every time that vice comes up, every time shame might come and be like, oh, go open that refrigerator. You know, that's all that you're good for, is for opening that refrigerator. Go on, do it, girl. When the devil's pushing you, go on, do it. Go open the refrigerator. This is there. And it works. It definitely works. It just reminds me that by eating, I'm just literally feeding my habit with food. I'm feeding my habit, feeding my shame, and it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And God and man, like I said, man does not live on bread alone, but by the word of God. So by going to God and getting that release and getting that rest and getting that spiritual just like energy back and coming back to me and understanding who I am, like going to God is better than going to that refrigerator, because I'm just going to be literally eating and feeding my emotions, and that's not good. And this is for any vice, really. You can replace bread with your vice and put it on your refrigerator too.
Man does not live by clothing alone.
Yes, it covers your body, but it's not going to cover that stuff that you got going on. Clothes can cover, but only so much, but for so long.
Yeah, I've gotten much better at that, I think from going through a period of not having no money kind of helped me or whatever, but that was like years ago, but you still do kind of revert. So you do have to remind yourself, like, all right, girl, why exactly are you doing this? So I love the personal development component of it. Like, it really is about you understanding you're discovering, looking at the good, the bad, the ugly, the uncomfortable, and making a decision that you want to live the best life, and that's not you hiding all these different things, you allowing things to compound, you avoiding things is not helping you live the best you. And so, like, I love that about what we're talking about today, because it's super important that we allow ourselves to be who we were created to be, to be okay in our skin, to be okay with our feelings, to be okay with disappointments, because we will experience disappointments in life. Like, it's a part of life. To be okay with, a moment of depression, because I think a lot of things are centered around poor feelings of what is happening around us. And like you said, being out of control. It's okay to realize that, I'm having a moment. I'm having a moment today. And like you said, I need to regroup, or I need to call my mentor, or I need to journal, or I need to pick up that book. I need to remind myself of who I am. Remind myself that I am uniquely and fearfully made, that there's nobody else like me.
Exactly.
I'm not replaceable. I'm irreplaceable. Ain't that a song? Yeah. Okay, anyway. Just reminding yourself. And so I really hope that that people have gotten that from this conversation today. And I thank you for sharing, being very candid and transparent about your journey and how you are progressing through, how you're pushing through. And so, is there anything else that you would like to add or share, or last thoughts?
I would just have to say, for anybody dealing with a mental illness, you're not alone. Learn to forgive yourself. Um, Learn to study yourself, and cling tighter to your relationship with God than you cling to anything else, because that is the only thing that is going to get you through. That is the only thing that has got me through, is clinging to my relationship with God. Um, so yeah, if anybody dealing with, mental health issues, forgive yourself, study yourself, and cling to God, cry out to Him because He is listening.
So there's something that you just said that I think is definitely worthy of repeating, is that you are not alone. And I think so often we think that we are on an island all by ourselves. Like nobody else has experienced this, nobody else has, no one's going to understand. I have to wear like a cloak of shame because I can't share this with you because you appear to have everything together. You couldn't possibly understand the trials or the struggles that I'm dealing with, and that is so not the case. Um, the stuff that we're dealing with, someone else has been there, someone else has gotten through, someone else has overcome, and a lot of times we're all just trying to, I don't want to say fake the funk or trying to press through. We're all, on this journey, and you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. If God wanted us to be alone, He wouldn't have created other people.
Yeah.
For us to share our information with. And so I'm really grateful that you've taken the time to share your story and sharing your experiences, because I really believe that through conversation, through discussion, through sharing, healing can take place, you know? And so before I have a scripture I want to end on, but before I do that, can you tell us about yourself? Do you have any not hashtags? What is it called? Your IG information, if people want to follow you, what you have coming up in the future, and all your good stuff.
All right, so I am Crystal Lashea. My Facebook page is Crystal Lashea. You spell Lashea Lashea. My Facebook is Crystal Lashea. No, my Instagram is Crystal Lashea Inc. My website will be up next month. It was up, but I'm putting new blogs up there. My YouTube is Crystal Lashea. What do I have coming up? Honestly, I try at this point right now, because I'm still working on the stepping back and dealing with my moments with God. I don't pre-plan stuff. I really spend my time with God, and as He says move, I move. As He says go live, I go live. As He says share this, I share this. That's where I'm at right now with that. But if you're friends with me on Facebook or on Instagram, then you'll definitely see my lives. I love doing lives because I feel like I'm connected to the people. And if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for a sister, if you're looking for somebody, I always say at the end of my lives, like, my lips are sealed. Like, you have somebody there that's been through. Like, I'm just going to share a little bit of what I've been through. Mental health. I deal with depression and anxiety because as a child, I was sexually molested by a family member. I was also physically abused as a child, and those things have caused my depression and my anxiety and the binge eating. I was a teen mom. Those are some of the things that I have dealt with. So I feel like I can be a sister to somebody, a mentor to somebody, to help them through the same way I had people help me through, talk me through, stay on the phone for hours with me, or just, send me a book title. So I definitely want to be that for other people. And I feel like that's my purpose in life, is to be a sister or auntie to somebody who may not have one. You know, a young girl that may not have one, it feels alone, it feels shameful. Like I was that little girl who felt so ashamed, who was cutting her wrist, who had 2 suicide attempts. You know, thank God I survived them, but life is hard. And like when you're not in it alone and you have a sister who's sitting here just, you know, waiting to wrap my arms around you.
Girl, we should have led with that. We should have led with that. So, like, definitely, you guys, she's putting it out there. Hit her up, reach out to her. I'm sure she has an abundance of information, the ability to encourage, the ability to have compassion because she's been where you may be, and just is a true overcomer. I said in the beginning, she's been through a lot of obstacles and challenges that would break most people, but God, you know, and she's able to now use her platform to encourage other people and to build up other people and to sow into other people, and that is so Miss Crystal Lashea, aligning her passion with her purpose and impacting the lives of other people. And so definitely hit her up. All her IG information, I will post it on my page, my pages. And lastly, I just want to end, quickly before I end, because I want to end with Jeremiah 29:11 through 13. And I'll read it, and then I'll ask you to just chime in. And it goes for I. It reads, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for calamity, to give you a future and a hope. And when they say welfare, they don't mean like public assistance, like good welfare, like you're well. Um, then you call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. I will you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. And so that is what Crystal has been sharing, I believe, today, that, you know, when she recognized that the one that created her knows the plans that he has for her. And as a result of those plans being a hope and a future too, when she calls upon him, when she prayed to him, he listened and he's answered her. And so I want you, just really quickly before we leave, to talk about some of the things that has been happening for you since you have just really taking that time to not only trust God, but to understand yourself and get released from those things that have tried to hold you down and keep you, you know, captive to like depression and binging. Now that you're in a better space, tell us some exciting things that have transpired in your life because you've been able to open up in that way.
Well, I feel like ever since I've been like done with the binging and all that stuff, and I'm in a healthier place, I'm just a happy, more joyful person, and that alone is like worth everything in the world. Not having that heaviness when I wake up in the morning, like that's like the best thing in the world. Second thing, I'm getting married.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
I'm getting married, so that's exciting. I'm like 2 months engaged. Like this is really new. Like I just got a church. So if y'all on my Facebook and Instagram, it's going to be like a wedding central. So feel free to tag a sister in some wedding stuff. I'm also, what else is going on? I'm traveling a lot more. And that's like the best thing in the world, traveling. That's like an eye opener for everything. I'm just doing better in life. I feel better. I'm doing better. I'm better. I can focus on things better now. I lost 6 pounds. Okay. When I was binge eating, I would go to the gym, but I wasn't losing any weight at all. And I was going harder than now. I could focus on the gym. I can focus on my Spanish studies. I'm learning Spanish. I'm moderately bilingual, y'all. It's just a lot of things going on between like being bilingual, traveling, and getting married and just being happy. It's just, yeah, so much better.
So, guys, I just want to again thank Crystal Lashea for coming on, sharing her story. We hope, we pray, we believe that this is going to be helpful. This is going to open the door to a new phase of life and to healing, to those areas that may have been broken in your life. And so we're going to close. I'm sure this won't be the last time we'll do a chat because I see some other things coming up. But guys, again, check her out. And thanks again for tuning in. As always, when passion meets purpose, Crystal.
Good things happen.
When passion meets purpose, great things happen. We'll talk to you later, guys.
Bye.